not just about a delivery of an app or implementation of a Qlik dashboard. It's about having someone else who has a nice, well-rounded experience. So I am the SVP of Revenue Operations here at Azul. I started about a year ago. I'm responsible for a lot of the things most people would consider traditional sales operations, and then expanding into the more revenue-driven areas, compensation, all of those aspects. And the big one is why you and I work so closely together. I am also responsible for the lion's share of all the metrics and analytics related to the health of the business. It's hard to decide where to start, so I will start somewhat from the beginning. When I had first joined, Azul had previously begun or desired to start a process to become a metrics-driven company. They lacked a lot of the infrastructure, the experience necessary to accomplish that goal. But Azul had some uniqueness to their challenges, in that over the years, as they had evolved, the strategy and the processes around the company had changed frequently through various different needs that were met quickly, with very little consideration to the past, or there'd be new oversight and leadership that had come in. Much of what the company was evolving into was all very new, or we were going to have to actually go and look and do gap analysis around what metrics were of value, what do we need to do to change from a system, from a process perspective, to make that metric work inside the company and fill those holes. It was felt the minute I came in. It was evident when I first joined. If you picture, a company like Azul, a company that has very strong growth, a company though that has very limited resource and has to make very scalpel-like decisions in terms of where to invest, how to invest, what did we know and what did we not know. And what I found was actually there was a lot we didn't know. The forethought of what we needed to know, it was more from that lack of how do we even get it. And we had to rely more heavily than anybody would have been, would prefer on, anecdotal information, gut information, imperfect information. Concern, no. There was a hesitancy because, again, partially because of my background, but because I've been through, or I've experienced this in some version or another in many other companies. You would typically get one of two versions of support. You get a very technical individual that you have to spend a tremendous amount of time educating on the context of the data, the business reasons behind the data. And then the other type I would find would be those who are big thinkers, thought leaders, and then they would be very good at, you want to measure this and you want to measure this metric, and here's an example of what it could look like, and here's why you want it. But then they kind of hand it over to the business and say, now it's up to you to go figure out how to measure that. If that was the case, I would have wanted to go and bring my own known entity in. And I found, that my concerns around those two sort of bookends of experience were quickly, my fear was quickly alleviated. Initially my thought was, oh, here we go, here's that big thinker. But you were so quick to navigate beyond that, to set the vision, to clearly articulate the vision of where we should be heading. But then you navigated quickly to, without getting deep into the weeds, you navigated quickly to, and let me show you where I think we were going to have to go and adjust. But what I found quickly was I had an individual who actually kind of covered the three levels for me. You had the bigger picture, You were receptive to the changes that I might want to make to that bigger picture. Then you were very quick to say, yes, and we need to get there. And here's how I think we not just you need to go do this, but and let me help you. How can I help make that change happen? And at the same time, in the background and on the weekends or whatever, you'd be cranking away on the incredibly technical side of Qlik that I knew nothing about. In the year that we've been working together, you've standardized our process. You helped me standardize the process. We've delivered multiple apps, dashboards, I'll call them. In particular, one of the most valuable ones that's used almost daily. You've put in place, or you've helped us put in place, essentially all the go-to-market analytics and we need to run the business in its current state. You've also helped ramp us up in terms of training, walked us through, taught me how to do not just basic navigation, not just interaction with the apps, but also how to build my own views, work with the data, even some of the more into advanced work around formulas and so forth. You've helped deliver core dashboards that cover the entire go-to-market. Is our funnel build analytics, a platform that shows us robustly end-to-end from response and marketing and the movement down through that waterfall. I did have an analyst inside the company, but that analyst was truly, genuinely overwhelmed with heavy lifting, because he wasn't just an analyst. He covered sales systems. All of us had to play multiple roles. Where I got with working with you was easily, I won't put a percentage on it because it's kind of an arbitrary number, but was well above where I believe I would be today. I would have had some spreadsheet. I would have had a summary sheet. I would have had to maintain that. I would have had to use, hours of my time to pull that on a frequency basis yet to be determined, adjusted. So what I have, is so far above that. And I know I would not have been there if I did not have some level of partnership with you. Truly the partnership at the business side, the business level, understanding how business operates and what best practices are that could then be extrapolated into, best practice and approach to adjust for rapid deployment of analytics, accomplishing those things that were easy to get to, and then working with us to get the more complicated pieces over time. So the fast deployment, continual growth in that area, and then the technical side, a well-rounded understanding of the very detailed technical that none of us would have and would be a very unique skill set. And say were the three biggest pieces that I got from our partnership with you. I think that the wealth of experience that you have in the business, it's not just about the analytic. It's not just about the technical delivery of a dashboard. It's the insight, the value that you can bring. There's a lot of value in your well-rounded experience in the go-to-market area.